And you know how Steppin with Marcus J. I told y'all that was going to be a very, very brief, very brief break, as we always do. We always take that final break and try to make it short so we can get everybody out of here. We obviously are going late tonight, but you know we had good discussion tonight. Every time we have the Diva Diaries, is always a good time, and I appreciate the dating pool diva when she comes in here and she shares the Love Revolution information and the stuff that we talk about in those meetings. We bring them here to Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J, and we share them with you guys on Legacy Internet Radio, on social media. And I'm happy that we do that, and I hope you guys are getting something from it. I see you guys in social media. Joy is saying that she wouldn't want to sign a prenup. She doesn't think it is needed. If you came in broke, you're leaving broke. And I responded to that by asking, but if you rich and he broke, don't you want to protect yourself? So it's up to you guys to think about that. Michelle also says no prenup, but Joy disagrees with me on alimony. She's saying that is different. So we guys, obviously I'm on an island alone on this one, but that's cool. I'm used to it. Ain't no how Steppin' Marcus J. Tony, you up, girl? We gotta have a final word from you. What you got going on?
Thanks for having me. Glad I was able to do a makeup Monday.
Makeup Monday.
Yeah, Makeup Monday. I had lots of fun. Of course, always great with the relationship stuff, to hear what y'all got to say. And I just, of course, like all the different perspectives, because we all are kind of different places in relationships, or the lack thereof. So everybody have a wonderful week and stay warm, because it's about to get cold again. And I will see you in 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
I'll be back.
Second Monday is your normal week, and so we're definitely glad to have you here for the makeup. It's like a makeup exam. It's funny that you put it that way. You know how Steppin' with Marcus J, Mr. LP. Very briefly, you want to say anything, my man, before we get on out of here?
Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak on your show. It's not often, and I just appreciate that commentary, the lessons learned, and everything else. And please listen to us tomorrow, 7 to 9 on LegacyInternetRadio.com. We have a wonderful and special guest who's coming in out of town, who's had some interesting things in her life, and she's going to break it on down for the rest of us.
You got it. Dating Pool Diva, you're up.
Mr. LP, what's up with the sexy voice?
I didn't feel like raising the pitch of my voice.
Where was that earlier?
I didn't feel like raising the pitch of my
Where's
voice.
my 7-Up?
When I'm not concentrating, it's just like whatever.
I just want to say thank you for having me here every fourth Monday of the month for Diva Diaries, and my other input in the other segments. I really appreciate it. To the host and hostess. What was that? You acting fake like Mr. LP over there. What's going on? I just want to always plug the Love Revolution online on Facebook. If you look up Love Revolution, ask to be added, we'll most likely add you to the group. And I think everyone in this room is part of that online. And then we also meet every third Saturday of the month in person to discuss relationships. We always have a good time. We always get some deep stuff in there, and we enjoy talking to each other about relationships. And I think we take something back as well as giving to that Love Revolution. I want to give special thanks to Mr. Raw Talk for coming out. He's a fellow author, and he came and discussed his book as well as being part of the Love Revolution Forum. And I want to thank Mr. LP Stephen Sykes for bringing him, inviting him to the forum. Hopefully he can come out again and join us. So that's basically it. Just stay in touch. Also, AC, who called in, I really appreciate you calling in at the last minute. I just told you before going on the air, and you were able to call in and give us some insight. So I really appreciated that support. That's basically it. Just follow me on Facebook, Author Charisma, Love Revolution. Join us and be a part of the revolution.
And you know how Steppin' with Marcus J, Dating Pool Diva, thank you once again for being with us. And we appreciate the relationship between Legacy Internet Radio and the Love Revolution. See you next month, sis. That's why. You ready to take us home, girl? What you got?
Well, darling, I tell you, I just want to thank everyone again for listening. You know, I want everyone to listen to the broadcast or listen again to the broadcast and pay attention to your sciatica and watch how you bend and twist and bond. I'm sorry, your sciatica. Sorry, Marcus. Thanks, Tony, for coming by.
As much as y'all talk
Thanks.
about me, y'all
What?
give as good as y'all get, man.
No, you know you deserve like 20 times over than what you get.
Nuh-uh.
Nuh-huh.
Okay.
And thanks to the Dating Pool Diva. We had a good talk tonight, girl. We had a good talk tonight. Mr. LP.
What's up, girl?
Your pleasure.
Sexy voice, Mr. LP.
But seriously, just thank everybody for listening. We appreciate it. You know, as always, if you weren't listening, we wouldn't be talking. So, good night. Night well.
You know, it's funny. Y'all pick on Steven about his voice. I was traveling this weekend, and I was hanging out with a cousin, and the cousin introduced me to her friend, and her friend, you know, she was telling her, yeah, he's got a radio show. He talks on the radio and whatnot. So we had been talking for like 15, 20 minutes had passed until she says to me, she said, say something to me in your radio voice. I said, girl, I've been talking to you in my radio voice the whole time. I was like, what the hell kind of thing is this? The craziest thing, but just thought, yeah, I just thought that was funny. You know how Steppin Marcus J. All right, I'm saying the show, y'all. Let me get through my final thank yous before I get to the closings. We still got people listening to us in social media. We still got some folks in MixLR. We see you in Richmond and Jersey City. We still got you down in Portsmouth. So it's definitely a lot of love and a lot of folks still checking for us here on Ain't No How Step with Marcus J. I want to thank my man AC for calling in. We had people listening to us in Atlanta, Plainfield, New Jersey. We had Joy said, Sarita listening to us. DJ Renee Melendez checked in earlier. She didn't get on the air, but she did let me know that she was listening to us tonight. She does our Saturday night show, Deep House Sessions with DJ Renee Melendez. So we appreciate that. It's time to get the hell out of here. So I am not going to talk no more other than my rant. Don't get happy. Other than my rant. So as I say every single week, hopefully you folks will indulge me just briefly. It's the end of the month. It's the end of Black History Month. Oftentimes when we talk about Black History Month, we're talking about the many black men who have made an indelible impact on the world, but far too often the story of the impact made by black women is left untold. And I hope tonight when we did the segment on the five sisters, we kind of shared how important that is to us here at Ain't No Half Step with Marcus. I'd like to share a few more thoughts about the amazing impact that our sisters have made on history, black history, and American history. As a youth, we are taught about the indomitable spirit of Harriet Tubman, who led the Underground Railroad. She, of course, was famous for once saying that she freed 1,000 slaves and would have freed more if they only knew that they were slaves. And I always like that quote because it speaks to the problem of fear and brainwashing that was prevalent then and still is now. I've always been drawn to leaders who persevere in the face of dire straits just when no one thinks you can do it. And the sisters I want to highlight tonight fit just that bill. Sisters like Maggie L. Walker from right here in Richmond, Virginia. We discussed her earlier. She's the first female bank president and the first woman to charter a bank in the United States. She was the first woman of any color. And as a leader, she achieved success with the vision to make tangible improvements in the way of life of blacks as well as women. Disabled by paralysis and limited to a wheelchair later in life, she became an example for people with disabilities. And as great as Tubman and Walker, honestly, my favorite Black History Month females are actually the widows of three of the most celebrated men in Black history. That's Sister Merle Evers, Sister Betty Shabazz, and Sister Coretta Scott King. Their impact to the legacy of our culture is immeasurable to me. Consider this. 3 black women in the climate of the 1960s see their husbands all murdered by gun. They all had small children, were all stay-at-home moms. Their husbands gave their lives to the cause and by all accounts spent little time at home because of it. And when they were murdered, their widows were tasked with carrying on their dreams, raising their children, and living their own lives. They were thrust upon single parenthood in the most abrupt and violent of ways, and not only did they overcome, they each became revered civil rights leaders in their own right. Mrs. Evers pursued her husband's killer for over 30 years, culminating in his murder conviction, all while continuing her education and rising to the rank of chairperson of the NAACP. And like Mrs. Evers, Betty Shabazz was forced to the head of her household because of the murder of her husband, raising 6 girls while going to school and earning a doctorate, becoming an associate professor of health sciences with a concentration in nursing, ironically, at New York's Medgar Evers College. And Coretta Scott King was so driven that she worked for nearly 20 years to see to it that her late husband's work culminated into a national holiday. An activist in her own right, her works toward equal rights for the LGBT community and her opposition to the apartheid movement highlight her influence on history. So tonight, we talked about Bessie Coleman, Phyllis Wheatley, Isabella Sojourner Truth Bombfree, Mary McLeod Bethune, Harriet Tubman, Maggie Walker, Myrlie Evers, Betty Shabazz, and Coretta Scott King. Mothers, activists, freedom fighters, educators, and business owners, every bit as important as their male counterparts. And tonight, we salute them and the many more sisters who have done great work, contributing to the legacy of the history of blacks. That's the Marcus's unrelated rant that tonight had a lot to do with what we talked about tonight. It's the end of the show. I want to say that independence is key to building your legacy. I also want to say peace to all the stars and the squares. In the abundance of water, the fool is thirsty. Those are the words of Bob Marley, who you hear singing in the background. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Next week, we celebrate 1 year anniversary of Legacy Internet Radio, and we're going to do it big for the entire month of March. We're going to celebrate the whole month. We'll be back next week and next month. Peace.